On February 20th, the Employees Provident Fund Organization issued a circular. According to it, if you wish to opt for a higher pension under the amended Employees Pension Scheme 1995, then you must apply for it by March 3. To explain whether you should stay with the current scheme or opt for the new one under the joint option scheme, we have with us today Mr. Deepesh Raghaw, Sebi-registered investment advisor and founder, Personal Finance Plan, and he will explain to you the pros and cons of the two schemes. Good afternoon, Mr. Raghaw.
Good afternoon, Sanjay. How are you doing?
Very good. So, with the March 3 deadline approaching, salaried employees are really keen to know, should they stick to the current option or should they opt for the higher pension option? I'll begin by asking you, how is pension under the current scheme calculated?
So pension is a slightly convoluted formula. So the idea is that for determination of your pension, your average of last 60 months salary, basic salary, will be considered, and it will be multiplied by your years of service divided by 70. So let's say you have worked for 15 years, and over the last 5 years, your average basic salary has been say 50,000 per month. So your pensionable salary will be 50,000 into 15 by 70. If you have served for more than 20 years, by the way, when I say served for more than 20 years, it is about for how many years have you contributed to EPS. So you may be in a job where you were earning, but for some reason you were not contributing to EPF. In which case, those years will not be counted towards your years of service. Only those years for which you have contributed to EPF/EPS will be counted towards the calculation of this pensionable salary. If you have worked for more than 20 years, 2 years will be added. So let's say if you have worked for 25 years, for determination of pensionable salary, it will be the last 60 months of salary into 27 by 70. That will be your pensionable salary. That will be your pension, a monthly pension once you retire.
And what does the joint option scheme have to offer? What has really changed?
So EPS provisions are slightly complicated in the sense there was a wage ceiling in terms of okay, you could be contributing your basic could be more, but and you could be contributing more to EPF, but the maximum salary, pensionable salary, which we discussed as last 60 months of basic salary, was kept at 15,000. So let's say even if your basic salary was 1 lakh, or average basic salary was 1 lakh per month over the past 60 months before you retire. Even then, for the calculation of your pension, only 15,000 maximum will be considered to calculate your pension amount, which was a problem.
Okay. And who can opt for this scheme, for this higher pension option?
So, we have to go back a bit in this case. So in 2014, until 2014, you were allowed to make contribution to EPF, which was in excess of this wage limit, 6,500. And people were contributing to the EPF fund accordingly. Now, those people who are contributing more than 6,500 per month, or were contributing on a basic salary of more than 6,500 per month, as on September 1, 2014, and those people are eligible for this scheme. The only caveat being you should not have retired before 2014, September 2014. If you have retired without exercising this option of higher pension, then you will not be eligible for this joint option scheme. You must be working on September 1st, 2014 to be eligible for this.
Now, what are the advantages of going for the joint option scheme?
Clearly, the pension will be higher, much larger, right? And so let's say 15,000. If you don't opt for that, don't opt for the pension. joint option, you will earn your pension with salary will be calculated on a maximum of 15,000 per month. So let's say if you work for 35 years, 33 years, let's say, so adding to it becomes 35. Your monthly salary will only be 7,500 rupees. Monthly pension will be 7,500 rupees. 15,000 into 35 by 70, which comes to 7,500. But let's say if you exercise this option, then your income, and if your average salary last 60 months salary was 1 lakh per month, you would stand to earn about 50k per month. So which is a huge jump, and this is a salary which is guaranteed, sort of. You don't have to worry about any. You don't have any kind of risk. So long as you are alive, you will get this pension. In your absence, your spouse will get that pension. And after the demise of the pensioner and his or her spouse, the kids will get 25%. Two kids will get up to 25% pension until they turn 25. So it's a very simple structure, if you see. So you know upfront when you retire that okay, I'm going to get this much amount, and after me, my wife will get this much amount. And if the kids are still young, when she passes away, they will also get some money. So it's a simple product. Pension is also high. Pension is also high. No doubt about that. And it's also, I mean, you also have to look at the way this pension is calculated. Now, in your life, you would expect that your incomes would go up over a period of time, right? So let's say you start at rupees 20,000 per month of basic at the age of 25. By time you turn 60, the basic will be in excess of rupees 1 lakh per month, right? So it's a huge amount, risk free. Of course, it will be taxable, but risk free and very simple to understand.
So who should go for this option? Whom would you advise this option to?
There is no one size fits all solution here. You have to see, for instance, somebody who's 50 years of age. Now, first of all, they have to see if they're eligible. If they're not eligible, then then it makes no point discussing about that. But if you're eligible, then you have to make certain assumptions about how your salaries will grow over the coming years. And it's a very difficult assumption to make, especially in today's time and age where your incomes could take quantum leaps, or you might suddenly get sad. This is not easy to do, but still you have to make the fair enough few assumptions. Let's say you are earning 50,000 per month today. When I say 50,000 per month, I mean basic of 1 lakh per month. See how this income will grow, how you expect this to grow over the next 10 to 12 years until you retire. And then accordingly, you can calculate your pension. Because, and it's not a free lunch. Because if, let's say, you opt for a higher pension, then EPFO will transfer a portion of your existing EPF corpus to EPS. So you have to compare those things. So you are losing out on some money also, because if you look at it, about 8.33% of all your employer contribution. So employer contributes 12% to your corpus, and if let's say employer was contributing up to a basic ceiling of say 15,000 per month of basic salary, the deficit amount along with the interest that you earned on that amount will be transferred back to the EPS. So EPF corpus will come down. So the amount that you get at the time of retirement from EPF will also come down. So you have to compare, weighing the pros and cons of all these things. EPS will likely go a very good pension, but it has its own set of drawbacks also.
So let us turn to the disadvantages of opting for this scheme. One, you said there will be a clawback from your EPF corpus into your EPS corpus.
Right.
And for what period will this clawback be calculated?
For the entire amount for which there has been, so let's say you have been working say 2000, year 2000, and your EPF contributions were high. Right? So you're contributing to EPF on let's say base wage ceiling of you contribute EPF at 50,000 per month of base salary, actual salary, but your contribution to EPS was going at the capped base salary of say 6,500 or 15,000, 6,500 primarily or 15,000 after 2014. Then all the deficit amount which should have gone to EPS but went to EPF will be clawed back from EPF corpus and put into EPS plus 1.16% of your contribution. In EPS, Sanjay ji, 1.16% of your wage salary up to a cap of 15,000 is contributed by the government also. So if you say that you are going to contribute on more than the cap salary of cap wage of 15,000, then that extra amount will be borne by you. So let's say you're contributing 50,000 on 15,000. Government will pay 1.16%, but on the remaining 35,000, you will have to pay. So it will be taken out from your contribution to EPF and put into EPS, transfer to EPS.
Okay. What are some of the other disadvantages of opting for this higher pension scheme? Say, if I say have a lower salary in the last 5 years, what happens? For some
Then
reason,
your pension salary will be lower. There is absolutely no. So it does not account for how your salary grew or fell. It just the calculation just looks at your last 5 years of contribution to EPF account. If it is lower, then you will earn a lesser income. In fact, in these cases, one of the options that employees could explore is that they could ask their new employers to not contribute to EPF or EPS, right? In which case, those years will not be counted. But that again is complicated. These are complicated things to do, and these are also a few things which you may not control beyond a point. You will not control beyond point. So that's a huge issue. The second point, as I see, follows from the clawback provision. So in case of EPF, once you retire, the money which you have accumulated belongs to you. You can do whatever you want, right? And you can use it whenever you want. In case of PPF, it is pension. And pension is only so long as you are around. And after you are not around, then 50% goes to the spouse. Now, let's say you have this pension, right? Let's say you are eligible for a pension of 60,000 after retire. After 1 year, you will pass away. Straight away, pension falls to 30,000 per month to the family. Your spouse also falls, let's say, passes away, and then kids are above 25 years of age, which is a possibility. If you're retiring at the age of 60, the kids might actually be above 25 years of age. Then nobody gets anything. In this case, if you had EPF, at least your kids would have got access to that EPF corpus and used it. So those things you have to see. So as I said, you have to mathematically, most likely, opting for EPS might look like will look like a better choice mathematically. If you crunch those numbers, it will be. But there are those buts and ifs and buts. There are those caveats which can make this decision extremely complicated. I'm not bothered about whether government can pay or no. Government will pay. So that's not an area of concern that eligible investors should have. But yes, that's a very important point. What if you pass away at the age of 60? Then all this maths falls for a toss.
very true. Very true. So one is the mathematical aspect of it, and the other is what could happen in reality.
Right.
You could end up with during the last 5 years, you could end up with a lower salary. You could have a job which offers a lower salary that will lower your pension. If you don't have a job in the last few years, many people retire early these days. Your pensionable years come down. That will also lower your pension. And if you pass away early and your spouse also passes away, then your family gets virtually very little.
Right. There's one more aspect here. A lot of people these days think about early retirements. Right.
Yes.
EPS pension can only start at the age of 50. It cannot start before the age of 50. And even if you, let's say, if a pension starts before the age of 58, then you get slightly lesser. I think you get 4% less for every year of early retirement. So let's say pension starts at the age of 50, you'll get 4% less for each year of early withdrawal from that pension scheme. So it's quite so these are things which make this extremely complicated. It's not so
Very
simple.
true. Very true.
So if let's say if you're very close to retirement, you can and you foresee that okay you're going to work until for next 5 to 7 to 10 years, then perhaps the decision is much easier. Again with the caveats that in case you pass away, the maths may not look as rosy as it looks right now. But for somebody who's let's say 30, 30, 35 or 40, for them this is extremely complicated.
So people who are closer to retirement and are in a reasonably stable job can perhaps go for the higher pension option, because for them,
Yeah.
except for the passing away part,
Yeah.
that is the risk part. But they can, yeah, if they can, they feel that they are likely to stay in the job and their salary can only grow and they're not likely to lose their salary, they can perhaps go for it. Now, one question that a lot of people ask me is, what if I stay with the current scheme and I get a corpus from EPF? What can I do with it? How can I generate a regular pension from it?
Right. So there are multiple ways of doing it. So all they are looking for is a regular retirement income after retirement, and they have this corpus with them. So one an option which is comparable to what they are getting in case of EPS. So in case of EPS, you get 100% of pension, and after you, the spouse gets 50% of 50% of the income, and once she passes away, assuming kids are older, then nobody gets anything. So there is no return of capital, so to say, in case of EPS scheme. A very close counterpart could be an annuity plan, where you earn pension, annuity income. After you, spouse also earns income. In annuity plans, there are options where you can opt for your options where your spouse will get 100% of the pension that you are getting, also 50% of the pension you are getting. So that's one of the options that you can that we can look at. Otherwise, if you, the regular income options like FDs, SCSS, Pradhan Mantri Bandhan Yojana, or you could invest in a diversified portfolio of assets, and you can systematically withdraw from that portfolio. So many things are possible, but yes, the closest product to what or closest return profile that EPS offers will be from an annuity plan. But at the age of 60 or 70, the returns may not be so. 60 or 65, the returns from such plans may not be very high. Right now, these are about 8% for 100% to self and 50% to spouse. And that could be the way you could compare everything. You could compare, you could also use it as part of your decision making. So if you are a very conservative investor who wants really guaranteed income, who wants to, let's say, invest in an LIC product, sure about the money will come to you, and you want an annuity plan, you also know how much will come to you every year. Now that's also a way of comparing. So you could simply see how much pension you will get after retire from under EPS. Were you to opt for this joint option, and contrast this with what you are letting go of in terms of clawback from an EPF corpus, and how much less will you contribute in the coming year. So you may be contributing less to EPS until now, so there will be clawback for sure. There will be additional 1.16%, which will be clawed back from your employee contribution to EPF and its returns. Right? In the future, also, you will contribute more to EPS and less to EPF. So combine all these numbers and see which option will give you a better return. EPS is likely to come ahead. I don't deny it. But then EPS has caveats which an annuity plan does not.
So what is your final bottom line message? Say if your younger brother were asking you this question and you were in an escalator with him, and you had to answer the question by the time the escalator reached the 5th floor, what would your answer be? Bottom line.
So with all my biases, I am fond of flexibility with my money. I would tell him that please don't opt for EPS. I understand that in some way may compromise his income during retirement, but I think I personally cannot live with so many caveats in any kind of pension scheme.
So your suggestion is take the money that EPF has to offer, stay with the current scheme, take the corpus that EPF offers, and then use it to invest in a flexible manner on your own. Is that the advice?
Right. With all my biases.
With
With
all
all my
your
biases.
biases,
I mean,
of course, of course.
I do not deny, Sanjay, that EPS will likely offer you higher income than
Very true.
higher safe income compared to what EPF and then taking EPF corpus and investing in a very safe conservative investment will give you. The point is, my reservation is with respect to flexibility of EPS, where I think it is far behind sticking with the current option.
So the bottom line, according to you, is that the new pension scheme is likely to offer a higher pension, but you would be giving up on flexibility. That's the final message.
Right. New pension scheme, new EPS option,
New
not
EPS, the amended EPS 95 scheme, or
right.
joint option scheme as it is called.
Very likely higher income, but with lots of caveats. It
Thank you,
depends
Mr.
on how much those caveats matter to you.
Very true. Thank you, Mr. Raghav. It has been a pleasure speaking to you. And I sincerely hope that watching this video will help our viewers take this very rather complex decision, which matters a lot to them. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thanks for